Something strange is going on. The Boston Red Sox find themselves back in headlines once again, and this time it involves one of their star starting pitchers, Brayan Bello. I'm here to break down all of the new information that we have coming from Ken Rosenthal and whether or not Brayan Bello will be moved this offseason, and if he is, what that would look like for the Red Sox going forward. We'll break down all of the moving parts on this episode of Red Sox Digest. But first, if you're a part of the percentage watching this video, not currently subscribed, scroll down and smash that subscribe button. It's entirely free, and we do appreciate the love and support. So again, thank you guys. But now, let's not waste any more time and break down, is Bello on the move? Now, we've had this conversation in the past during this offseason, and it's because Matthew Cora, someone we cite all the time on this channel, went on to bring up the idea that the Red Sox could move Bello for a potential solidified number 2 starter to pair next to Garrett Crochet this offseason. Now, when Crowley did that, it caused a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, and it picked up just a bit, but it felt like it died off a little bit, and the conversation surrounding Bello really was obsolete up to this point. But based off this article written by Ken Rosenthal in the last few days, things have picked right back up. Now, Rosenthal would go on to say, on another front, a rival executive said Monday the Red Sox have, quote, quietly shopped right-hander Brayan Bello. A person briefed on Boston's conversation disputed. That person, however, said Bello's name often surfaces when teams ask about the Red Sox young pitching. Bello's 26 and is owed $50.5 million over the next 4 seasons, including a $1 million buyout on a $21 million club option for 2030. His contract adds to his appeal, but has yet to quite reach his potential. His 3.35 ERA over 166 and 2/3 innings last season was encouraging, but teams more apt to look at his expected ERAs, a 4.56 in 2024 and a 4.52 in 2025, as a better reflection of his performance. Should Bello be dealt, Crochet, Gray, and Oviedo would be the Red Sox top 3 starters, with Patrick Sandoval and Cutter Crawford, who are coming off of injuries, and rookies Peyton Tolley and Conley early as possibilities. But the Red Sox could always sign another veteran for depth. Now, that is all we're going to focus on in the sense of quotes directly from this article from Ken Rosenthal. But there's a lot to break down here. The first paragraph in itself, quietly shopped. Now, we have to take this all with a grain of salt, because the Boston Red Sox, specifically Craig Breslow, and the way he has handled himself specifically this offseason is interesting, to say the least. We have rambled about it video after video after video, and the reason being is because they haven't signed a single free agent yet. I believe they're the only team in the entirety of Major League Baseball to not sign a free agent yet. Granted, they have made 10 different trades this offseason, which is good. They are still staying busy. They are doing things to improve this organization and this roster specifically going into next regular season. But with the surplus of names, both in the sense of the offensive department and the pitching department, the lack of free agent signings is a bit daunting and a little intimidating, to say the least, as other teams, specifically in the AL East, like the Orioles, the Jays, and the Rays, have all been extremely active, not only on the free agency market, but also in the trade market. Now, the Red Sox need to continue to be competitive. They need to go out there and they need to acquire more pieces, whether it is starting pitching, pitching in general, coming out of the bullpen, or bats. You guys know how I feel about Bo Bichette and Alex Bregman, and having to sign at least one of those guys. But now involving the conversation of Brayan Bello and someone like Ken Rosenthal, who is as informed and just connected in these behind closed doors with all these major organizations, this is going to pick up more and more steam as the days go by, and this leaves a lot of Red Sox Nation to believe, one, is Bello going to be moved, and what would that package look like if he is? And I'm here to tell you one of the big names that have already been in connections to the Red Sox, and specifically Brayan Bello, if he were to be traded, is Ketel Marte, with not the best second baseman, one of the best second basemen in all of baseball, as we've gone through how great he has been all off season, because there's a lot of smoke building around the conversations in connecting Marte to Boston. Now, would he look great in a Red Sox jersey? Absolutely. But the initial idea of getting Marte to Boston was impactful and extremely lopsided in the sense that Boston would have to give up a lot to go out and get him. And the reason being is because Bello wasn't really involved in these conversations. Hypothetically, we've had these conversations because of the tweet from Matthew Cora we cited earlier, but nothing this substantial. If Bello were to be packaged to Arizona, this is something that we've heard before. The Diamondbacks want young starting pitching. That is, they are on the record, not only the Diamondbacks, but basically anyone that covers the game of baseball that is respected. Passan, Rosenthal, Heyman, the list goes on and on and on about how the Diamondbacks want and absolutely need young starting pitching. And that's why it scared a lot of Red Sox Nation in the sense of the fan base away, because they don't want to see Conley early traded. They don't want to see Peyton Tolley traded, as well as the lot of very young and promising talent down in this farm system because of the amount of talent Breslow has already moved this offseason with the 10 different trades he has made without signing a free agent. It is infuriating to think about. So, what is his starting rotation going to look like? Well, Crochet, Gray, Bale, Crawford, and Sandoval. I'm not going to say I'm speaking for all of Red Sox Nation here, but I'm very confident in saying I don't believe anyone hopes this is what the starting rotation looks like. Obviously, Crochet is the ace. No way around that. Bale can be the number 2 guy. He can be the number 3 guy, depending on which version of Gray we end up seeing in Boston. But Cutter Crawford and Patrick Sandoval both coming back from injury. Sandoval was supposed to return last season around the All-Star break trade deadline area. He never pitched for the Red Sox on the major league level last season. So is he going to come back and be a guy and the number 5 guy in the starting rotation? I feel like a lot of Red Sox Nation would rather see either Tolley or Early in that spot, if not even in the 4 spot in the starting rotation. Again, either of those guys, because of how they played in the limited amount of reps they got last season, specifically in the playoffs. Early was fantastic, and I think he should be a part of this Red Sox team for the next 8 to 10 years, especially if he stays healthy, because he's going to be considered a rookie next season because of the lack of when he was called up last season. He's going to have a full year with this Red Sox team. He went through this full offseason with the Red Sox. If he's not moved, I really feel like there's great potential for Early to be a legitimate guy in this Red Sox starting rotation, which as of currently constructed, at least based off the FanGraphs graphic that we're looking at, doesn't leave me all that confident in the sense of the powerhouses they are going to have to compete against, specifically in division. The Rays got better. The Orioles got better. The Jays got better. These teams are going to be not only in the division, but they are going to be substantial teams the Red Sox have to beat consecutive and multiple times all season long. So, if they move Brayan Bello, who has been a bit underwhelming, and this is something that Ken Rosenthal mentioned earlier in the second paragraph, how teams are going away from the 3.35 ERA that Bello posted in this past season. Rather, they're going to observe the underlying metrics that we all know and love to look at from Baseball Savant. Again, the expected batting average, way below league average. The expected ERA, way below league average. Whiff percentage, K percentage, way below league average. We know who Brayan Bello is. If you watch Red Sox baseball, if you have watched Bello pitch, you know what he is going to do. He's not going to strike out a whole lot of guys. Granted, that he's going to have that night where he strikes out 8 to 12 guys. It happens. We saw him do it last year. We had multiple 10 strikeout games. But the thing, what he does, his bread and butter, is creating weak contact, creating ground balls, and allowing the defense to work behind him. Granted, it's not the greatest formula, at least it wasn't last year, because the defense in Boston was abysmal, second in the entirety of the league in errors, only behind the worst team in baseball in the Colorado Rockies. So it's not the greatest idea. He's been good. He hasn't been great, but he's been good, and I don't think that's a stretch of any form. I think Bello has been a very good starter for this Red Sox team, and while only being 26 years of age and only going into his 5th season and concluding his 4th season last year, he's been good, without a doubt. I'm not saying he's an ace by any means. I'm not saying that he should take Crochet's spot or anything like that, but he's been good. He's a good number 3. He's a good number 4 guy in a starting rotation. With that being said, and the fact that he's already been taken care of financially with a 6-year, $55 million deal, which still has 5 years remaining, including a $1 million buyout in 2030, which could be a $21 million deal for Brayan Bello. Why wouldn't teams jump at the bit to go out and acquire someone like this if the package isn't going to be as lucrative. Now, if the Red Sox wanted to package Bello as well as another piece and maybe two other pieces, I believe that would be enough to get Ketel Marte. I don't believe Arizona would do 1-for-1. If that were the case, I think he would already be in Arizona and Marte would already be in Boston. I don't think it has a relative chance. But if the Red Sox are willing to move someone like Bello and another piece down from that farm system, I would see how Arizona could possibly be willing to do that. Now, they are not the only people, in the sense of the only team looking to acquire young starting pitching where Brayan Bello could fit in greatly. The New York Mets need starting pitching. The San Diego Padres need starting pitching. And the list does not end there, as basically every team outside of the Los Angeles Dodgers are looking for more depth in the starting pitching department, including the Boston Red Sox. So if you move Bello and you go out and get a Ketel Marte or a Fernando Tatis, a skill player in that sense, not another pitcher in return for Bello, you're going to be shorthanding yourself unless you're fully capable and fully willing and confident in those young guys like Kyson Witherspoon, who has yet to be called up, guys like Early, guys like Tolley, to remain in the big leagues and be substantial pieces in the starting rotation. This move scares me just a bit, and that's why I say it's just a bit strange. The Red Sox have made 10 trades up to this point. They have failed to sign a free agent, and despite that, they remain in conversations about possibly creating a blockbuster trade, moving someone who's a substantial piece in the starting rotation in exchange for a second baseman, an outfielder, a utility guy that can play really a lot of positions in the sense of Tatis. He can play anywhere in the outfield. He was a shortstop. He can play in the infield. Most likely that would not be the case if he were traded to Boston. I don't know how Tatis would fit in with the amount of outfield depth that the Red Sox currently have, as well as Story at shortstop. Obviously, there's openings at third and second, but Tatis is not going to play either of those positions. This is a interesting conversation, and I don't know how I relatively feel about it. I want to see Bello on this team because the Red Sox need the pitching, without a doubt. And if they're going to move Bello, why would they move Bello for other pitching? This is a very fine line, and the way Breslow has handled himself up to this point in the year, I don't think he's going to do this unless he is flat out blown away on a trade offer. Where if Arizona calls him and offers a 1-for-1 deal for Marte and Bello, I believe he would do that. But outside of that realm, I don't think Breslow gets this job done. I don't think he goes out there and pushes the needle to push Bello out of town. I think he's more than accepting to leave Bello where he is, possibly go out there and add another piece to this roster, whether, again, it's Bregman, Bichette, or another pitcher, whether it is that veteran free agent that Rosenthal goes on to mention in this article, which I doubt because they failed to sign a free agent up to this point. Oh, man, this is a tough one. It really, really is, because Bello has been good. He has not been great, and because of the underlying metrics, I could see how the Red Sox could want to go in a different direction with the overall value he maintains, being 26, having the contract flexibility in the sense of he's already been taken care of, and teams don't have to go out there and extend him once he lands with their organization. Let me know down below, would you like to see Bello moved? And if you would, what would you want to see in return to Boston? Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one.